Hello everyone, welcome to HIM 130. In this lecture we're going to be covering the assignment for Chapter 13 that involves analyzing coded data. Attached to the assignment you'll find the Excel spreadsheet that takes us to this particular assignment. When the assignment opens, you'll need to enable editing. And then don't forget to put your name, the course ID, and the date on this particular tab. What we're going to be doing is looking at the raw data and determining the coding accuracy rate for 5 coders whose charts were audited for this particular audit. 20 charts were audited for each coder. And as you read the scenario in the student handbook, basically it tells you that the audit was performed because there were some questions about the DRG families and a shift away from the number of charts with CCs and MCCs. And so, of course, that affects the weight of the DRG, and ultimately it impacts the reimbursement. You'll determine the number of errors that each coder had, and you'll pop that here. And then we're going to be calculating an accuracy rate for each of the coders. And I'm going to demonstrate that for you. I'll go ahead and demonstrate that for you now. I'm just going to put some a random number in here. So if I want to calculate the accuracy rate for this coder, they reviewed 20 charts and they found 3 charts that included errors. They found 3 errors, and I'll talk about how to count the errors in just a moment. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit the plus key so I can begin my formula, and I'm going to type in 100% because we're actually calculating the accuracy rate based on a percentage. And from 100%, I'm going to subtract 3 divided by 20. So I'm going to press my minus key, and then I'm going to open parenthesis, and I'm going to click in the cell with the number of errors, and then I'm going to use my backslash for divided by, and then I'm going to click in this cell that includes the number of charts that were audited. And then I'm going to close my parenthesis and hit enter. And you can see that for coder A, if she had 3 errors out of 20 that were audited, her accuracy rate would be 85%. And once you complete determining the accuracy rate, then you're going to answer the question, which coders actually met the coding accuracy rate that's required by the facility. And I do believe in this assignment it tells you that the required accuracy rate is 92%. So you're going to be looking to identify which coders met. And actually I'm going to go in and expand this spreadsheet and add a column here that says accuracy met, and then you'll basically just have to complete that. Now we have the tabs at the bottom, and I'm going to go over to the audit results tab. Now, one of the things that you can do with this spreadsheet, just like you can any other spreadsheet, is you can sort it by coder. And you'll notice in column B, we have the name of the coder. I'm going to pop this over. The audit case number is in column A, and then the coder is in column B. And one of the things I had already done was I went through and I highlighted any case that did not, that had an error. So if we scroll over on this a little bit, you can see for most of these it says issue none. But when it says that there was an issue, it tells you what the issue was. Missing a secondary diagnosis code, incorrect principal diagnosis code, incorrect discharge disposition, missing secondary diagnosis, which was ACC and would have impacted reimbursement. And so as you look down, you can see here's one that was missing a secondary diagnosis, which was an MCC. So you can see the different types of errors that they found when they were performing this audit. Now, when we're counting the number of errors, we'll count the actual number of errors found. So as we're scrolling down, you can see for all of these that are in red, they actually represent one error per chart, but we actually have one chart where we found 3 errors, and that's of course attributed to one coder. And so this, while it's one chart, it would be considered to be 3 errors. And of course, for the facility, what they're going to do with these results is not only determine the coder accuracy rates, but they're going to look at the types of errors that the coders made, and then they are going to implement coder education, possibly process improvement plans. And anytime they're doing that, the key to having success with this process is follow-up. So in looking at the types of errors that the coders made and providing education for them, maybe doing even more intensified focused reviews within the facility, that should resolve the issues related to selecting an incorrect principal diagnosis or missing secondary diagnoses that in fact impact reimbursement. And of course, you can see that if we're missing CCs and MCCs, then that means there are going to be DRG changes, and DRG changes typically result in increased reimbursement. Not always, but typically. So I'm going to show you how to sort this in case you don't know. So I need to highlight the area that I want to sort. So I'm going to put my cursor in A1, hold down the Shift key, and then I'm going to move. I'm going to hit the right arrow key and move over to the end of the spreadsheet. And then I'm going to press the down key, and we audited 100 charts, so I'm going to watch this because somewhere not long after row 100 will be the end of my data. So it's at row 103. All right, release my Shift key. Then I'm going to put my cursor up here in Sort and Filter and click on Sort and Filter. This is going to be a custom sort. And I now need to define what I'm going to sort by. Well, I want to sort by coder. So I'm going to, that is column B. So I can click and go to column B. I can leave it at cell value, I can leave it at A to Z, and then I'm going to press OK. All right, and then you can see what has happened here is I now have all of these sorted based on coder. And if you count, you'll find that each one of the coders had 20 charts audited. But now I can easily see where the problem areas were for each of these coders. Now, I want you to notice something here. Do you see how this line 22 and up here, well, actually it's row 22, and then up here we have row 2 and 3, and that's because row 2 and row 3 should be following row 22. This is the same patient, it's the same data. You can see that this particular error is an incorrect principal diagnosis, and then we had a missing secondary diagnosis and a missing procedure code. So while this is one chart, it's 3 errors for coder A. So you can look down at the data and see what types of errors are being made for each of the coders, and that would be critical in coming up with a post-audit plan for correction, and you can see what the errors are. Then once you have determined how many errors there were for each coder, you can come back, plop that information into number of errors. You can create your formula for the accuracy rate one time, and then you can copy it down on the spreadsheet and it will populate in. And of course, because I don't have any errors populated, this is not correct. As I said, I'm going to add a column to the spreadsheet for you so that you can designate whether or not the coder met the facility's accuracy requirement. And that will conclude this lecture.